to wave the ceremonial checkered flag and be able to mix and mingle with the racers. And so it's always great to have Mel there. But wanted to be up close and forthcoming with you about everything. And wanted to finally kind of lay out, we call this a run of show. This is the run of show from last year, how we dealt with everything, and I think you can see that a little bit. Try to zoom in a little bit here. Obviously, we had at Lebanon City Market last year was before the band. Darlington Road and Christy Nicole was there as well. Those festivities would not happen on a Friday night, obviously, but wanted to just let you know how we did things last year. Saturday, the race, the practices begin at 10 o'clock. We started the stunt jump. We had RC cars last year. We're looking at maybe having some big wheels and a track to race them on for families to do that, to kind of add to the fun and the race theme. The heat races, as I talked about, that's where they're moving around for position. That happened around 2 o'clock. And as you saw there, they would end around 5 o'clock with live music, and then more live music after that. With Sunday, things picking back up around 10 a.m. and things wrapping up around 5 o'clock with the feature races and Mr. Kenyon handing out some hardware. So it's a pretty full weekend, pretty well planned. We've done it for several years now. We had it at the 4-H Fairgrounds in year 1, and like I said earlier, years 2 and 3 were downtown, hoping to bring it year 4 to the parks. To the park, and if it works out, who knows, maybe this is a permanent location for this race, and would like to be able to explore any questions that you might have and any issues that I may help deal with.
I have a question for John. Do you know, John, if anybody has already reserved any areas of the park for graduation celebrations?
There was one.
Is graduation for Lebanon?
There was one person, and we talked to them, and they've moved to another shelter. When I got your permission for the race to be held, I went ahead and I saw in the books there was somebody that called in between those 2 days, and they were very, very fine with it, so really happy with that. I was curious if that Friday, though, if we could rent possibly after graduation, or will you have events and setting up? It'd probably be chaotic. Probably shouldn't do that, correct?
To be honest, and this is one of the benefits of having it at the park. The need for a lot of the fencing and a lot of the barriers, if you were around downtown last year, yeah. It was quite hectic pulling off big industrial strength plastic barriers off a semi-trailer downtown with county traffic and restaurant traffic, and those of us who are stupid enough to dodge cars and things and set that up. This year will be quite a bit easier. We need far fewer of those barriers.
That's what
he was saying. It'll go a lot quicker and be easier to set up. To be honest, the majority of setup would not happen until Saturday morning because there wouldn't be that much to do. Good. And so fewer of the metal fencing. Also, we partner with Timmons, and they supply straw bales as well to add. And so we sprinkle those throughout to go along with, again, another layer of safety with the metal chain link and the industrial strength plastic barriers.
Yeah, and we're meeting.
Friday night should be good to go.
We're meeting with the circuit. What is he, manager?
He's the president, Bruce Budrow.
President. Mm-hmm. Yes, we're meeting with him to make sure to make it safe for everybody. And I think there's a couple posts that we might have to move. And yeah, we've already gone through the track and all that. So and we're in contact with him. So that will be as safe as can be. I think they're going to go 900 mile an hour on that backstretch.
Is the pool going to be open during?
No, it will not. Okay. The pool will be shut down. We'll open that following Monday.
How's that going to affect us?
Yeah, water's cold at that time. That was when I asked you before, that was the only difficulty I struggled with, was that and it's graduation weekend, which normally those shelters are, but that's just 2 days. I think we'll still be fine because they'll do graduation parties Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all through the week. And that following weekend's already booked up, so. Yeah,
I can't wait. I've been every year, and it's
there you go.
An adrenaline rush.
I think it's great that they're moving to the park. It's just logical than having it around the square. But the question that jumped out at me is beer garden open. Is that something that goes back to the square, or?
If it were going to happen, and again, just approaching a discussion here, it would happen at the park. If there were going to be a beer garden, it would be in one location where the race would be located, like we had last year. And again, that was the run of show from last year. If it's not allowed, like I said, it's certainly not a make or break issue with having the race in the park. I think it'd still be a great venue and a lot of fun. But just wanted to be fully upfront and honest that there was a beer garden. It was popular last year, and wanted to broach
In
the
history,
topic.
have we had park events that have had beer?
Never.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm not sure I want to set that.
I'm not interested, I mean, in that. I mean, it's unfortunate, but, and you know the racers, they're gonna, they're gonna be in their
Now, does
RVs
it
or
happen?
whatever, and they're gonna,
Does-
yeah, they're
does it-
gonna
Is
do
there
it.
drinking in the park?
Yeah.
Sure is. Come with the 4th of July, yeah, several events. Yes, there's alcohol in the park.
Solo Cup heaven.
But nothing that we sanction.
Correct,
right?
correct. We never had a promotion. I think it is something that we probably need to look at, and this is just my opinion for the Conservation Club. If we use that new facility there to have wedding receptions, we'll have a nice place there where you can have a gazebo for weddings, that type of thing. So I know the fairgrounds was against it for so long. They did turn that way. I'm not saying, I know there was a lot of pushback on the schools when they did that. This is a different area. I know that there are a lot of stipulations out at the fairgrounds that they have to have 2 deputies on, at all time, which I believe police officers were uptown every time I've been there. But just something to think. I don't know how many wedding receptions you've been to that are dry. Just saying, if we would rent that facility.
left
That's on
quickly.
down the road, so I think it'll come before us again, just my opinion.
I personally couldn't care less if they drink at the park or if they smoke at the park myself, but
yes.
that's, I don't know
And we
how we
have banned
could.
smoking, so there you go.
I don't know how we could break a precedent.
Yes, okay.
for
That's,
this
I
event.
think Joe wanted to ask, but I just wanted to say on down the road, I think we will address that again. If you want dry reception parties, I think that's what you want, and that's fine with me.
I have a question, just out of curiosity, because it is in the ordinance that there's no alcohol in the park. How would you get around that? I'm just asking, do you have to have a special permit? Would it have to go to the council?
I'm sure it would. We'd have to get special permission.
It would have to go to the council, I'm sure.
Yeah, because it's in the ordinance, that's one thing.
First through you, you would have to approve it, and then it
Right,
would have
the
to go
park
before the council.
I'm just asking, because I mean, this isn't the first time it's come up, and
Yep.
we've said it's something we're probably going to have to look at in the future.
They've talked about it at several benefits that we've had, so it has been before us, fundraisers and the like, non-for-profits, and it has never been approved since
Yeah,
I've
the
been here.
difference I see on the point you brought up, the wedding reception would be invited guests only, whereas this is a public thing involving a lot of kids, and I
Still
think
park
it's a
grounds.
different situation. I could
Okay.
easily approve it.
And
for
we
a
aren't there
private
yet, we aren't
party.
there, I'm just saying, on down the road, it probably will be something that will pop up again.
Just out of curiosity, Joe, where does the profits go, or where does the income go, I guess, from selling the alcohol?
In years past, it has gone to the Heart of Lebanon, the downtown revitalization organization. As we work with Taylor and Todd and John with the park, that revenue would be shared as fellow organizers of the event.
Remember a number, I mean, just off the top of your head of what?
I don't remember offhand.
Bunch of beers.
It's a couple $1,000s. We did have it open on I believe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the market that was there.
Was it in a confined area?
It was, and it has to be. We had an area that was what we called a hot zone and a warm zone where
okay.
there was, you had to dispose of and not take any alcoholic beverages with you once you left the premises of the area that we had marked out. And it would be a similar case here if it were even to go down that route today or 5 years from now.
I just wasn't sure how you would even go about that if we did, talked about and decided we want to do something like that, because in the ordinance, we can't.
Yeah.
We can't.
I mean, I would love to do it for the Heart of Lebanon, to be able to, profit off of it and put money there, but I think I would say that I don't know that we can make that decision. I don't think we can give a recommendation.
It would have to go to the council. We could just, it's something you might want to look into, and
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
something we can
Do you want him to go
consider.
forward then to the council, or not, with no recommendation?
I would suggest if this is the first year of doing it at the park, that we do
how
it
it
well without it, and then
how it
give
goes.
you time to
idea.
investigate what hoops that have to be jumped through, if it's even possible, if we wanted to move forward with that. That's just an idea.
I agree with that. If we could just try to put it together this year, and then that'll give us time to find out if we can do it and how to go about it. I'm excited to see this
Let's do the race
in the park.
first. There you
Yeah.
go.
It's-
The other-
It's a great
it's fun.
event.
The other concern I had is the park board has, on the stunt jump, that
The
is an
what?
inflatable, the
That's the
stunt jump that he showed earlier.
Oh, uh-huh.
It's an inflatable. We have
inflatable,
banned
yeah.
those from the parks. We don't allow them. So are you going to make an exception? Do you have that on there, Joe?
The landing
Yeah, there
area
to the right.
is inflatable here.
Family fun. I think it was pretty popular last year too, if I'm not
Very-
mistaken.
it was
There
very
a line all
popular.
the time.
Yeah.
What's the
However,
history on banning them from the park?
Yes,
if you recall, 60 Minutes did a special, it was brought up, and there were quite a few of the groups that come in to rent the shelters. Be it every family, they bring in jumpy houses, and those things took off flying.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah,
Liability.
there were some deaths, the deaths that occurred, and, yeah, I think the last one to have it was the Cancer Society, and the vote was to not allow it, so I'm just saying, I'll enforce it and cut it, no, I'll enforce won't allow it unless you make an exception, so I'm leaving it up to you.
I don't think that would be up to us.
I'm just
either.
telling you that every group that comes in, a lot of them say, we're gonna put a jumpy house here, jumpy house, everybody that rents the shelters, I just telling you what they will be saying, and we tell them can, and if we're out, well, when we're out working, we say, you know, remove your jumpy house.
They
They do it
have
for
those
birthday
ones at the-
parties, everything. We used to do it for the haunted trail. We'd rent one. You can rent it at Kramer Lumber. We'd rent it from them every year and have it. But after that 60 minutes, the park board made the decision not to allow that.
I think we've had them downtown with the Back to the 50s.
Yes,
In
yeah,
that
they
new
sure did.
area.
Yeah.
We did have them with
Like a
the
smaller
relay,
Yes.
version of it, but.
relay for life.
The thing is, I
my
think what the
grandkids
fear was
played
is on
it.
these rentals, I think from Dan Lamar, I think, or the Lamar Insurance or our insurance holder, was who's going to make sure that they are properly staked and all that. So who's responsible, liability? I don't know if that was the issue.
Joe,
So-
is that something that the people that bring it in, do they carry insurance, or is that something the park board would have to?
They carry their own insurance. A1 Rentals is who we work with out of Muncie, and also the Heart of Lebanon has its own specified race and everything in between insurance that we carry.
What's the general liability on that, do you know?
I want to say it's at least $1.5 million, $2 million maybe.
Park shouldn't have any liability
No,
on any of
no.
this. Everybody carries their own insurance.
Yeah, we get a proof of
I
insurance
just wanna
before
make
every
sure,
event.
yeah, I mean, that's.
Any more shelters are starting to go that way too.
I
My
know that
concern-
drinking's not allowed, but are you saying that this has already been banned? for the park?
Yes, the park board has not allowed it in the past. Anybody that has one, and it's even on our rental agreement, that there are no jump houses allowed. So that way they all know going in. So when we go to,
Isn't this a little different, though? I mean, can we look at it as maybe,
it's your decision.
It's
That's all
not
I'm
like
saying.
one
If
that
you
would
want me to
take
enforce,
all
I don't know if it's
the
considered a jump house. I just don't want to, yeah. I
My
just want to do the right
concern,
thing.
where, have you found
And
a
it really isn't a
location?
jump house, it's a fall into. It was
Yeah, it's-
bad, I don't know.
Have you found
But
a
it is inflated.
location? Because, I mean, the last time one snuck in, they put it right under the utility lines.
Yes.
And that was,
That was an issue. Also, the grass, it burns up the grass. We'd have big burn holes all over.
With
I
the
mean, there are a
trees.
lot of issues, but the main issue was the 60 Minutes that did where they were flying all around and people died. I think it was at a soccer event or something that they had them.
Where we had looked, and the rental company prefers to have it on pavement to prevent
Yeah.
setting it up and then the rain and different elements and having it, bogged down and things like that. They prefer to have it on asphalt or other hard surfaces, concrete. We had looked at having it towards the baseball field. Obviously not where there's an incline, but where it levels out, maybe near the restrooms on pavement. We didn't see any lines that were overhead there. And it is 30 feet tall, so we'd need to make sure, obviously, there's none of that there. But they do a great job of being able to help us scout locations for that. And last year, we had it on Meridian Street, and they're very cognizant as to where those lines were overhead.
Well, it is a little bit different than the enclosed
It
bouncy
is.
houses, is what I'm thinking. My concern still is the location. Because you said down by the baseball field, well,
All those lines are buried. I have 3/4
they're
to half
buried,
of
but
them.
there's the baseball field.
Yeah, there won't be any baseball games going on at that time, on that day.
Saturday or Sunday?
Right.
Okay.
And what about, will it take up parking? Because parking seems to be.
Well,
a bit
we
of
had
a
looked
concern.
at putting it, even before the parking lot area. I'm guessing the back of it would be around in this area, and
So
then it
in the
would.
actual roadway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So we would have, different barriers there, partnering with the street department to be able to partition that area off to motor vehicles and things.
And the people you rent from, they man that?
They set up and man.
Excuse me. Sorry, all the questions. This is new
No,
to
this
us,
is
so
this is
that's
beneficial.
what this
good.
is about. Yeah.
I think the overall goal is to create a wonderful environment and an atmosphere in a race. So that's-
Agreed.
I don't have as much concern about that except the location
No,
as I do the
that-
bouncy houses that are enclosed and the kids get in there and hurt each other. But I don't know the feeling.
A special exception then from the board? Is there?
Well, if you make an exception for this,
Yes.
then where does that stop with other groups coming
They'd
forward?
have to come before you, I guess, just like we do with anything that, with special exceptions, I presume. And it isn't a jump house per se, it is a fall-on pad.
Right.
I don't know.
And if you've seen
You
them,
want to
they-
stretch
they-
it or whatever.
It's a landing
Yeah,
pad.
landing
well,
pad.
once a person lands in that area, I mean, it flattens out almost to the ground. It literally is there to catch folks so they can be safe, obviously.
I think I would make a motion that we allow the, whatever you want to call it, the stunt jump, but decline the alcohol at this point.
It's very
Well-
expensive, isn't it, to rent also? It's quite
The stunt
expensive.
jump?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
not like a regular jumpy house for $110 a day.
It's what we call a people driver. So if you didn't want to go to the park during this weekend to see the live racing, you may want to go just to do that because we like to keep it free. Last year we had a free will donation was all it took to be able, so mere pennies could get you up and be able to do this as a quality of life driver. But I mean,
Yeah.
we just want to add different things that, well, if there's a break in the action with racing, I can go over here and do this and have something for everybody.
I agree with you, John, but if we, we should either change the rule, period, and accept it from now on, or stick with what we've done. The precedent
How's
that's
it
been
read
set.
now? How does it read?
I don't have that in front of me, to
Okay.
be quite honest.
Joe, is there an age restriction on participating in the stunt jump?
I believe there was a height requirement, but as far as age, we had kids at all ages. I don't think my daughter was gung-ho enough to do it last year as
old was
a
she?
7-year-old. But there were young kids that were doing
30
it.
feet.
There were tons of, wow.
Holy cow.
Oh, there were,
Brave.
And you see it from the ground, it's, I can handle that. And then I can tell you from experience getting up there, it's the knees start knocking a little bit. Yeah,
Imagine.
you kind of lose that.
yeah. There
confidence.
were a lot of kids. I mean, I watched that and it was a big draw.
There was a line all the time, for the most part.
I just, I mean, what we could do, this isn't a bouncy house, and I think maybe what our thing said was inflatables.
Yes, I trying to pull it up, and I'm sorry, I'm real slow. I don't have it right in front of me, sorry. Should have brought that in.
I doubt it.
No, I don't have the rental agreement in front of me, so.
Okay, yeah, it's on the rental agreement. Well, we could look at this one of two ways, not change the rule, but consider this is an exception and anybody else that brings one, or just stick with the rule. I mean, those are kind of our two options. But if we made an exception, then anybody that wanted to
Yes,
bring something would
yes.
have to come to the park board
Which
with
is
it.
that what your motion was?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that kind of give them one or the other. And I understand as far as, you know, you don't want just a family to rent one and take it to the park. I mean, I totally understand that.
Those are the ones that really
Exactly.
are
Right.
the level of danger.
It's those ones that rent the shelters on the weekends. I think that was most dangerous because they weren't tied down.
Right.
Time again, I'd come.
Well,
and-
I think this is a
Yeah.
professional service. I don't think this is
Right.
just
No,
a,
that's what I understand.
you know, a
That's why I
rental
said
place
And we
that,
might put that in the wording,
Yeah.
you know, that we're going to allow this professional.
Yeah, I know
But
the
I would-
Cancer Society has always had one, and they aren't allowed to anymore, but theirs is I don't know, jump house. It's one of those from KD Stables, I believe, or something like that
Yeah.
came. Yeah. And they said, no problem, we won't do it ever again. So they're, you know,
I think we need to do this separate from the alcohol thing, make it two different motions rather than combine them.
I'd second John's motion
Did you make a
Motion.
motion?
Okay, what was the motion?
to
Make the
allow an
exception.
exception for the stunt and jump
Okay,
for the
but decline the alcohol.
Mel
want
Kenyon.
it all one
Well,
motion?
I don't want to put it all together.
Does it need to be separate?
Mel Kenyon Classic.
Okay.
but there might be one that
2018.
agree in that.
So I'll make a motion that we make an exception for the stunt jump for the Mel Canyon Classic on June 2nd and 3rd.
Okay, and you're seconding?
Second.
Okay. Do we want to do a roll call vote, or do we? I'll just say, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
One thing I failed to mention, we'd like to also add food trucks to that event, local food trucks, non-alcohol serving, obviously. But as you know, folks like to kind of be at the race area. So we thought being able to add some food there would also benefit the event and be part of that people driver. And we have some connections with both local and regional food trucks we like to bring in. Just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that was going, we'd like to have that happen.
I think that's great. I think you have to have them.
Just as long as you work the power situation, because that was going to be another one of my questions. In the pit areas, do they bring generators, or are they going to require a lot of power?
A lot of them do, but it is in our best interest to allow them some to plug in also, and that may be something that we
How are we
help
capable
tackle.
of doing that?
that will be a challenge. That will be our biggest challenge, I'm
That
sure.
is the power, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of the
Many
food.
have their own generators,
Yeah.
and many of the places do require them to have their own power sources. So that, I mean, again, that's not a make or break deal. It's just we were able to provide that when we had it in the park, but when we had it downtown. But it's something that they know ahead of time, and they're able to.
I think we
plan
looked at that a
accordingly.
little bit when we were out there. I mean, it's been a couple months since I've talked to him, and he's going to take another visit, so we'll find that out. And that's just something that we can work out, I'm sure.
Right, but
Because
I
the race
know
will
every
go
time we go
on.
to
Yeah.
set something
Yeah.
up, power is a problem.
The only thing is the oil, and we'll discuss that to them, oil and gas, where they pour that. We'll want something down and make sure that they aren't, when they're doing their mechanical
Yeah.
work, make sure they don't dirty up our park, but we'll be good.
I mean, I'm assuming you could rent a fairly large generator from a rental, company if it came down to it.
Yeah.
Well, I know we can't run a lot of powder out of the shelter house because it won't. It doesn't
Can't run
prop
five,
up.
Plug a fan in.
That's good. Great.
Okay, now, entertain a motion to, you want to say table the alcohol or just no on the alcohol?
Just for this event?
For the, for right now, just say no on the alcohol. Okay, so I need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion that we decline the use of alcohol for this event this year.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Any other questions for Joe? I'm glad to see it out at the park.
Yeah.
It's a fun event.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, the problem with downtown is you couldn't walk all the way
Yeah,
around.
and then this will be accessible very easily. A couple of invitations, if you'd like to help in the planning of where the stunt jump is set up, certainly welcome that. And also this Sunday, there'll be a racing historic marker unveiled to honor Mel and Don Kenyon at Ewing Country Club at 4 p.m., again on Sunday the 15th. So Mel and Don will be there along with some former racers, and so it's free and open to the public. We want to be able to honor two living legends from Lebanon. So,
Set 4?
yes, sir. And we planned it that way, but it is Mel's 85th birthday as well. That's why we selected the date. So,
Yeah, that's really
Very
special.
fitting.
I like
What was
that.
his best performance in the Indy 500?
he finished third.
There you go, third.
Third.
Joe,
That's cool.
one more question for you. Have you already been working with somebody at the high school regarding using the parking lot?
Nope.
Are you thinking you would need some of that parking space on Friday?
No,
Okay,
no.
all right.
Oh, because that's
Saturday, yeah,
graduation.
We can only,
Graduation is
yeah.
Friday.
Now, sometimes people do rent Herman B. Wells for open houses.
Okay.
So I don't know
Okay,
what
I'll
kind
check
of
with
events are
Aaron
scheduled
Vaughn.
there. Aaron
Mhm.
Vaughn would be
Yep.
the
Yep, know
contact
Aaron well.
person for that.
Yep, great.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Pascal from the Mental Health Association regarding pricing for the Seashore Water Park.
Well, thank you, members of the Park Board. Again, I'm honored and humbled to be able to present to you. I'm actually here for two different reasons. One is to present for our swimming, for our summer camp, but as well as requesting approval to use the baseball diamonds for our movie Under the Stars, a movie night under the stars. We do two of those. This is a community service that we provide the community. It's totally free for them to come in. We do, like I said, two movies. I don't have the exact dates right now, but we're in communications with John's office. We will do one in June and one in July. And then we already have a date for our final community activity. We rented the pool for all the community to come in and use one night in August. Last year we actually did a movie night that night as well, but everybody was so tired and basically burnt out from the swimming that we really had just very few people for the movie. So we're only going to do two movies this year, again at the baseball park, and then one final event, which will open up the pool to the community for anybody that wants to come. And I just invited the ARC to join us for the movies and in the pool as well.
Good deal.
The park does a great job helping us advertising, so it's grown. I think our movie, our very first movie, we had maybe 25, 30 people. Last year we were running about 75 people, and I think we had about 75 to 80 people at the pool. Wow. So we hope it grows. It's just our way to try to give back.
And you got to see the master key to that lock on the lights, too.
Yes, that allows us to turn on the lights. John guaranteed us that he would have a key one way or the other, and he showed it to me, and it's about this big, I'd say.
Yeah, bolt cutters.
But we got the lights on, so that was great. And the neat thing about this is that we actually get people from all walks of life that come and join and just kind of gather together. The reason I think this is very neat is because no one is labeled. It's free for everyone. They all come and play together. It's really interesting to see all the parents sit in the middle and talk while the kids play, because we're at the mercy of the sun. And so we can't start the movie until the lights dim down a little bit. But it doesn't stop anybody from coming. I think that they've respected the park rules.
Oh, absolutely.
And we
Yes.
keep everything clean. We always have staff there supervising. We don't allow any kids to be dropped off. They have to be supervised with a parent. And like I said, this supervising kids is something we kind of do once in a while. So we're quite used to it anyhow, but we still don't allow anybody to just be dropped off. And like I said, it's just in my opinion, a great community event and fun to see. And we keep the movies very appropriate. So it's kind of funny because most of them have been animated, and the parents enjoyed it just as much as the kids do. So it's a lot of fun. So I'd like to request your approval to do that again this year, if I could. And we would greatly appreciate the usage of the facilities.
I move that we approve the request for the mental health of Boone County to make use of the park for the 2 movie nights and the pool.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And we're going to give them the same discount pricing, a motion to give the same discount pricing as we did last year.
Well, if I could talk to you about that just a little bit,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Of course, we run a summer camp for 10 weeks. We operate the before and after school program in all of the schools, and we also operate a pre-kindergarten program within the school. But we're open, I think we're open 360 days a year because we also run our programs through the summer. And we consolidate this program at Addie B. Stokes is where we're based out of during the summer. We're open the day following the last day of school, and we're open till the day before school starts. So it's basically 10 full weeks of summer camps. Our summer are packed with activities. We provide breakfast, lunch, and afternoon snacks to all the kids. We provide 1 field trip a week. We provide all of the activities, STEM activities. This year we're going to be doing archery. We're going to be doing drone building and drone racing. We've purchased the equipment, and we're learning how to use it so we can teach the kids to use it. And I'm actually kind of hoping, I haven't told them that yet, but since our law enforcement entities are using drones as well, we're kind of hoping that they'll come in and race our kids. But like I said, I haven't proposed that to them yet. But it's really packed activities. We bring in animals. We do all kinds of things. And we do that for $85 per child, all inclusive. And we try to reach as many children as we can. In the previous year, we've been able to utilize the park at a reduced rate, which has helped us greatly. We try to be, we bring in our own waivers, we bring in our own security team, so to speak. We're grateful that we also have the lifeguards on staff, but we try to make sure our staff is not allowed to swim. They're ordered to basically circle the parameters to make sure that our kids are always watched, not only by the park staff, but by our staff. All of our kids wear a band so we can identify them as quickly as possible that they're ours. They're not permitted to bring any kind of drinks or foods with them, so we do utilize the park concession stands. And from what I gathered last year, they spend a considerable amount of money there, so we're happy about that. And we try to be in tune to the fact that we do not want to overwhelm the park with a bunch of kids at once, so we break it up in 2 or 3 days. And that way, we are not taking up the room of paying customers or full paying customers. We've been benefiting from a reduction of $2 per child, and since our staff doesn't swim, you've allowed our staff to go in for free. This year, I'm trying to reach more kids in needs, and we've actually reduced or we're giving opportunities for more reduced fees to attend the program. So I was going to be fully transparent, I was going to ask you if we could actually attend the park for free. However, I feel very strongly about contributing as much as I can because I do want to support the park, and I want to support everything that's done in our community. You know, people always ask me, what do you do? And I tell them, it's easier to tell you what I don't do. We serve our population. So I will take what I can get, but I would greatly appreciate, since we are reducing our own fees to try to get more kids, if you would consider reducing our fees to $1 a child this year. But I am at your mercy, and I will take whatever you permit.
Did you say how many children were there last year? I'm
Last
sorry
year, we
if I-
ran 90. We're looking at probably 100 and, well, we've enhanced our marketing this year, and we actually, I already have 20 registrations in as of today, and last year we had 0. We typically don't get registration this early. So we're actually anticipating our numbers going to, you know, maybe near 100 to 120. We are going to cap it at 130. And if that happens, we would break the groups up into 4 days because we want to make sure that we minimize the pressure on the pool.
John, can you remind me what is full price right now?
$4 for children, $5 for adults, $6 for out of town, or $1 extra for out of town. How many do you have per child? How many supervisors do you have? Because they're all identified. They always wore shirts.
When we go on our field trips and we consider the pool a field trip, we try to drop down to 6 to 1.
6 to 1. It was good. They had no issues whatsoever. Yeah, everything was very good. They do a great job. And bringing them in and staggering like that helps a lot.
And as I mentioned, we bring in our own waiver, so you know, if there was an accident, we would handle it ourselves.
And you didn't have any issues that I remember, because we sit down before,
None.
or I sat down this spring, or
Yeah.
whatever it's called, and then we'll sit down in the fall.
Issues aren't permitted.
Right.
Issues.
Yeah.
I certainly want to help that group, but I think we'd be in dangerous ground if we just said, you're followed here by Beth Ridgway, who I think wants a discount pricing too. I don't know how we could do that for one and then deny it to someone else.
What we've done in the past is what we've set for everyone, because they're usually always not-for-profit groups that normally wouldn't be
And we
able
charge
to come.
$4, right, per child?
Right.
Yes, depending on age, 3, 4, yeah, 3 or 4.
Full price is, and we'd be charging 2, correct? For-
Yes.
That's what we're charging now. right?
Yes.
That's what we
Yes.
charged
Yes.
last year, was the discounted rate was 2. I believe one year we had 3, and then we brought
I
it
believe
down
so,
to
yeah.
2.
Yep.
John, what do
What do you think?
I know they've usually been good at,
I think you have several groups that are right behind him, is what I think.
Yeah.
I think he does an outstanding job, probably one of the
yeah.
best, if not the best, that brings groups in. He did rent the pool out for the whole community, which is nice at the end of the season. That's nice. I think we're pretty fair about movie nights too. So as far as that, but I think $2 is pretty reasonable myself. And you do offer scholarships, don't you, for the children that can't?
I do.
Yes.
And I think
And,
I would
we
be-
do at the park too, so
Yeah.
if there's issues there, they'll get into swim.
I would
agree.
greatly appreciate remaining at $2,
Yes.
but I am a not-for-profit,
Yeah.
and as you know, what
I
that
do-
means
I
is
do it
we
too,
reach into your
Pascal. I do
pockets.
too, yeah. we do.
And I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask.
I
and we
agree.
appreciate that.
It's great that you do everything you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we don't want, we're glad that they can come and use the pool, because probably normally they wouldn't get there, so. So do I have a motion on the discount pricing?
I'll make a motion that we keep the discount price that we established last year.
I'll second that.
Okay. And also, we can put out there anybody that wants to help fund a scholarship for a kid for your program.
Oh, I'm on it.
Giving you that little plug.
But I would greatly appreciate any word of mouth for the movies and the pool. I mean, the more the merrier. I mean, it just thrills us to see people come to those events. And I am not asking for a discount for the pool rental.
Those are pretty popular.
Do you communicate with Joe LePage in regards to advertising on the city's website?
He's
gone.
but I will.
Yeah,
He's already
okay.
gone.
I have not in the past, no, but it's a great idea.
That would be a nice.
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much for your generosity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal.
Okay, now we have Beth Ridgway from the ARC of Greater Boone County.
Good evening, Board. And there is a minor correction. I was Ridgway when I was put on the agenda. I am now Beth Webb as of last Saturday.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Bill, who's with us this evening, circled it on his agenda and made sure that it was corrected on his. So he keeps us all on his toes with his proofreading. Well, I'm sure, as you know, we serve our population with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And approximately 2 years ago, we started a program that was founded for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities that is an exercise and nutrition program called Health Matters. We have experienced tremendous success since instituting this program. And as of our class finishing last week, we have lost a total of 230 pounds collectively at the ARC.
Yay.
Great.
That's a big deal.
Where do I sign up?
We run 12-week sessions, and we have a partnership with WIFM, and we work out at the Y, and we work with a nutritionist and a nurse once a week at the hospital, and we co-teach. But we are always looking for new and exciting ways to keep our adults active. Statistically, obesity in this population, the numbers are staggering, and we are trying to do our part. And for the first time last summer, we came to the water park, had a ball, and we were burning calories and getting good aerobic exercise without realizing that's what we were doing, which was fantastic. The downside, of course, is activities like this are cost prohibitive for us and for our adults who participate. When we are involved in water activities, our ratios drop to 1 to 4. So when we come to the pool, we have at least one staff member for every 4 of our participants. And last summer, generally, it was 2 staff members for approximately 5 to 6 participants at a time. So we are with our participants at all time, although we encourage independence in the community, and we offer opportunities for our adults to gain natural supports in the community. We still are there to support and do what's right. I suppose it would have been very inappropriate for me just to stand up after Pascal and just say ditto. So there's my pitch.
There you go.
And we would very much appreciate and benefit from a reduction of possibly $2 for admission for our patrons as well. We have approximately 50 that may get to do this once or twice throughout the summer. And like I said, it would, generally speaking, it would only be, 6 to 8 at the most of our participants with 2 staff member at a time. And I would see this being only during the week for a couple of hours at a time. Generally speaking,
Like last year, basically.
right,
yeah, it
right.
worked
There
out
wouldn't
real well.
be, there wouldn't be a large group of us coming in on the weekend
Yeah.
or anything like that. And finally, I would also like to let you know that we actually rented the pool last summer for our staff appreciation party, and we had a blast as well. So and I asked Pam earlier, kind of twisted her arm once we got in here, and we are looking into that again for this summer.
Super,
So,
super.
That'd be
do you have any
great.
questions?
I'll be glad to make a motion to approve the same discount you had last year. Same plan.
A second.
She didn't have a discount last year.
We didn't have one
Yeah,
last
she
year.
did not have one. Yeah.
This,
Yeah, this is a new one.
I
Yes,
thought you
yes.
were talking about just like
No,
last
no,
year.
they came out last year, and pretty much when it wasn't so busy. It seemed to work out better when it wasn't so crowded and busy.
Right, and we try to do that
And I think
anywhere that
yeah.
we bring a group into in the community. Like, we participate in the summer reading program at the library, and we do that on Mondays because generally
Slow day.
their numbers are lower on Mondays, so,
Easier to work the groups too. That's great.
right.
You said 50 kids, roughly?
That I would see rotating through that would benefit from this. There would never be 50. I can't imagine that there would ever be
I don't think
a
we've
point in
ever had
time
that
where
many
there would be 50.
participants,
First of all, we don't have transportation
Yeah.
that could handle that, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion that we, for the first time, give you,
Very good.
I'll second.
okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And all that.
Thank you, and
Yeah, I know.
enjoy the
Yeah,
pool.
Good, that's great.
Okay, next on the agenda is Matt Jackson on facility use.
Good evening. May I bring something up for?
Yes. Heck yeah. How you doing, Matt? Good.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. My name's Matt Jackson. Been a member of this community my whole life, and actually sat in this chair over here from the planning committee when Mayor Lashley was in place before I moved to the country. So it's kind of good to be back in this room. It's been a while, but so I wanted to present tonight based on a group called the HTA Baseball League. This is brand new. It's never been seen in Lebanon before, but I became involved in this organization last year and really had a great time, and I've talked to John and John briefly about it, and so I have the basis, but I just want to give you guys a little history and then give you a little bit about kind of the process and what's going on and who, what, where, and why, benefits I think that can be perceived, and then just open it up for Q&A after that, because again, we've never done anything like this before in town, but I think it could be a good thing. I've never had great success at this, but we'll go for it.
Yep.
Oh, look at this. There we go. Okay. HTA stands for Hoosier Town Ball Association, and basically what it is it's old has-beens like myself, 30 and over, men's baseball league. Not softball, not wiffle ball, not anything like that. Truly the core of what baseball was, which is fast pitch, overhand, wood bat league baseball. The rules are basically that you have to be 30 and over to play, 35 and over to pitch. So the organization itself started this will be the 5th year that we've had it. And it was based in 4 communities. I believe it was Mooresville, Pittsboro, Clayton, Coatesville, and Clayton, one other. So, yeah. Well, that over the last 4 years of the season has grown now to what's going to be probably 12 to 14 teams. And the list is Martinsville, Pittsboro, Coatesville, Amo, Danville, Monrovia, Plainfield, Greencastle, Clayton, Brownsburg, Claremont, and then the to be determined what our team is. So Mitch Brock is a friend of mine, and the gentleman who really runs our team and invited me to play last year. We were based out of Avon at that time, and for some reasons I'll get into, we've talked about moving on from that. So that would be the last team that you haven't heard. So those are the teams and communities. Kind of give you a little bit of background on the players. So when Mitch started talking about facilities and what some good ideas were and what our struggles were from a facility standpoint, I got the idea. I was like, I've never played in a stadium that I enjoyed more than Memorial Stadium or at the park. And he said, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, let's go talk to him. And we were playing out of a field in Avon. It was Avon North Middle School, and they built this field and they never even used it. So it was just kind of an afterthought. So we used that as our home field, and it's seen its better days, and we did the best we could. But to say the least, it was a little ragged at times, but we made the most of it. So the games that were played last year were either in Avon North, they were at Hummel Park, or Franklin Park in Plainfield. And we did play some additional games at the church in Jamestown. You all may know Ron Ebert, but Ron was a proponent of getting people out there and playing, and it was just fun to do it as a different venue. So our home field is the Avon team was that Avon Middle School. And when we thought about this idea, I loved it. So really Mitch runs the team. I just happen to be the guy who thought about this. So here I am. So that's a little bit about us, the background and what we're doing. As far as the benefits to having a team, you know, again, I've been from this town forever, and I've spent a lot of time in a lot of different meetings, and, you know, what are the goods about Boone County? What are the goods about Lebanon? What are the goods about those things? And, I mean, even some of those things were mentioned tonight, the quality of life, the family time, the use of the park, and the facilities that we actually are super blessed to have, right? And I've always thought that the baseball field's just maybe even a little underutilized. You know, be driving by and be like, oh, there's no game today, and no big deal. But this league that now will have about 12 or 13 teams, I feel like based on the numbers that I saw in the days that we played, we would probably generate upwards of 200 unique visitors a day to the park. And when I say today, I'll get to the schedule. It's not every day, but so I feel like we'll get about 200 unique visitors every day. The good part is, too, it's during the hot season, so I feel like our park would get utilized, not only the water piece, but just the entire park itself. Then these players are a lot like myself and Mitch, you know, young enough professionals that have families. And so, you know, they're respectable people. They come from good areas. And I kind of gave you an idea of the background or the areas of the team. So, you know, you've got on any given Sunday probably, you know, 60 head of households that are from other communities that are going to drive to our town, not just use the facility, but also use our dining and see what Lebanon is kind of about. So I've always felt like what loss is there in that just from a town recognition standpoint. So from a unique visitor's perspective, I think that's about where we'd fall. The community recognition, the association's been featured on different newspaper articles, on morning TV shows, just because nobody loves a story more than hearing about an old guy who pulled his hamstring trying to stretch out his ground ball. So it's...
You're not old. No.
Trust me, when you run that far for the first time of the year, you feel pretty old. But it's a great story that people enjoy. And so I do think that it would also just be really positive for the community recognition standpoint. The family experiences I touched on a little bit. I mean, my kids came to watch me play, which was weird, right? Like, I was like, I go to your games, but they're like, hey, we want to see you play. So of those 200 unique visitors, I really feel like that 200 is predominantly parents, so I don't even really count the kids in that. But it does become a pretty family-driven experience. And then also the concessions revenue. In my brief meeting with John and John, we just said, hey, we're open to whatever you guys want to do on this. This league does not rely on concession revenue for fees or anything that we pay. As a player, I think we pay about $200, $250 a person to play. And then so if we wanted to open the concession, then we feel like it would be not a problem at all to provide those revenues to the Parks Department.
Because there will be no gate fees, yes.
Correct.
Yes.
I'm assuming
We
so.
don't have to pay to watch you, okay?
Yeah. We're probably worth it, but we don't charge. So those are that's kind of the feel good about it. So just the basics of it are that here's our needs, is that the season runs from July 14th until about October 7th. That represents about 11 weeks, and I think we play 10 games, we play 8 games, but there's a bye week in there, and we don't play Labor Day weekend. Yeah. So there's a couple different drops in the schedule, but we realized too that there would be a conflict with the merchants, which we have no interest in creating. So we don't create the schedule ourselves, but the president of the league, who couldn't be here tonight, said, hey, no problem, we can work with it, and we can make sure there's no games there those 2 Sundays that would conflict with the merchants. So really, we'd probably be looking at the first weekend in August through, again, about October 7th. It kind of depends on the teams and the schedule, but that's what we're thinking. So we want to make sure and eliminate those conflicts. The game times are on Sundays. They're 10 and actually 1:15 and then 4:30, 3-hour maximum. And that's a hard stop pretty much. So we've ran into a couple where they had to end short, but not a big deal. Everybody understands that. And due to the time of year, I actually don't think we need to tap into any of the lighting, just because we haven't played on a field with lights yet. So one of the Plainfield parks did, but we actually never turned them on. So I don't think we'd ever have to use the lights. So from a power perspective, I don't think that would come into play. But those would be the game times. And so every Sunday, I think, and again, we're not quite sure, but that would be the maximum load is 3 games. So it could be less, but I would say, generally speaking, probably 3. There are a few unknowns, and we could direct those to another facility if we wanted. But if it was an option, we could look at the park as a facility too, and that may be some type of a postseason play, or even an all-star type, kind of a skills challenge. Different ideas that the major league and minor league teams provide, and we're just trying to think about different aspects we can add a different element to it. So really, that's kind of what HTA baseball is, and like I said, you had to be 30 years old to play, but I think our oldest guy was probably about 52. So it's
Still can't. He's not old either.
No.
it's he did. So he went on the DL once, but a great guy. So it's a lot of guys trying to be boys. So that's really the story of HTA, and I just want to open it up to Q&A after that.
Okay. So you're talking about renting the field, and you're talking about park doing concessions?
I could possibly see how it works. We might tap into it and see if there's any money there. Normally,
Right.
like the merchants, we've tried to do that, and there wasn't a whole lot of revenue there. So our revenue would be from them renting the field.
Right,
And that'd
so this would be kind of
basically
a
it.
trial if you decide to do it or
Yeah.
not, but that was kind of what's.
And
here.
responsibility, obviously, you'd have to keep the thing clean and all that. Insurance would be the only other, we never discussed insurance. Is there?
Yeah, I'll let Mitch talk on that.
Yeah, we have full insurance for everything that runs through the HTA as far as that goes. And the basis of this is not only to promote adult health and also seeing kids that come through middle school and high school, they're like, my days of playing are over. I may not go to college and play. I may not, play beyond high school. They see older guys saying, hey, they're not that bad for, 35, 40 years old, and we still like to get out and compete and do that. But the baseball leagues in Indiana, basically you have, one in Fort Wayne. You have it in the bigger metro areas, but the rural areas like Amo, Coatesville, Monrovia, things of that nature. Greencastle's adding a second team. We've grown twice the rate in 18 months. So it's going to continue to grow. I'd like to have Frankfort, Kokomo, some of those areas in between there, the smaller areas.
And
Keep
Lebanon
growing.
teams. Yeah, that's-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And on that piece too, Mitch and I have talked about a little bit that it has grown really quick, and we would be the farthest north team, but we know that everybody will come due to the facility too, and even those who maybe have not been to the facility yet, once they came to the first game, they'd be like, oh, I can't wait to go back to the park to play, we
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And, as it grows, can we lighten the load if necessary? I bet we could, just because then there's more abundancy of facility options. right now we just are a little limited right now.
No, the only conflict would be the Merchants League, and we talked about that before. As long as Merchants is, they come first because they've been here forever. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Do they typically just do one game at a time?
new Merchants, no, they do double headers too.
It is double headers?
Yeah.
So the 3 games on Sunday, is that 6 different teams?
Yeah, it is.
It would be.
Yeah,
It'd be like a 10 a.m., a 1:15, and a 4:30.
but they would all be separate teams.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to tell you now, we can't make it through a doubleheader. We don't have pitching.
I don't want to say that.
Yeah. We do not have the pitching. Sometimes we struggle to make it through one game with enough, but yeah.
So do people come and stay for all the games?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the concessions issue, if that's the same or different than that.
So my personal opinion on that is it's probably just a little bit different because when you look at the Merchants, it's younger men who are maybe
20s.
still trying to progress themselves.
Their parents
whereas
are there
we're
and-
family.
yeah.
And there's really nothing there to do other than to be there for baseball, and we all have families. So
Oh,
that's
we'll
why I think
dabble
the
into
attendance
it,
would be so much
yeah.
higher
Yeah.
than for the Merchants. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not going to see 5,000 people, but at the same time, I truly feel like it's pretty close to 200. We've
Wow.
had 100 at a game before, a single game.
And
Yeah.
that was without concessions.
Right.
Oh, no, we'll dabble into it. Heck yeah,
Yeah.
we will. I think it's neat to bring other teams in and.
I think
and,
it would be because I think probably you're going to see a larger group of people once they come one time because
Right.
I don't know about your other fields, but you said you're limited, but the things for anybody in age group in the family at our park is unlimited.
I mean, I couldn't agree more because even at Franklin Park, we have the park right there, but there's no swings
like
right
the pool.
accessible. There's no pool. There's not a real like natural-based walking trail. So the way I saw it was that, you know, if you have younger children that you want to take the pool, you can do that. If you have a newborn baby, then you can push them around the walkway in a stroller or whatever it might be. So I'm like you. I think that the first time will actually be the first weekend will probably be our lowest attendance because I think after that it'll grow.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
So if you're good with all of this,
Absolutely.
John, I mean, because this is,
Accommodate their schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just, yes, absolutely. I think it's great.
And on that side, obviously, too, what we would do is if y'all felt like it was something you wanted to have, then we would let the president know who creates the schedule, and then we'd make it contingent, obviously, upon
We're looking
approval
at
from the schedule.
pricing, we're looking at pricing right now, and we're going to discuss
Yes.
that later, so we will be discussing the pricing and get back with you on the pricing.
That sounds great.
And I have your contact information, so that's great.
Okay.
I think you were used to paying $50 a game, I believe it was, somewhere in that neighborhood. Is
Yeah, I
that
think we were
right?
like around 100 a day, so it was like ended up being about 33-ish per game.
Okay.
So, but those were our fees, and I know it's a lot more than what you guys currently charged, and you were looking to up those, and we're happy to pay those fees.
Okay,
yeah,
that's great.
I think we have a nice field, and I think I'd like to see.
Yeah, we have some repair work to do in the dugouts, as far as that, we'll have to figure that out, and we can do it during the week, though, I'm sure, and get it, some of the dugouts.
Did you say how many total games? I don't remember.
Well, we wouldn't have the availability until,
August.
first weekend of August. So that would leave us, 8, 10 weeks?
Depends if we included some of the postseason or not, which would be great. So I'd say probably 8 or 9 weekends, 3 times. So call it, I can do math, 27 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Call it in that ballpark. Yeah.
And as far as the fields go, a lot of us have been around the game of baseball in some capacity or another, but as far as, and I'm sure that, the coaches will like it too, as someone playing on it through the fall, and I know they'll do some fall ball, in August when they come back, but, having the availability to actually put the work into the field and do some of those things, and that's something I've done for 20 years almost. So we love doing that. We love taking care of the facilities and upkeep, and that was part of the issues we had in Avon.
There you go.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve HTA baseball, the weekends that they show here, roughly July 14th through October 7th, as long as there are no games to interfere with the Merchants.
And I second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
Wonderful.
Thank you. This
Well, we're
is-
really excited, so.
Thanks, Mitch.
We
Thanks,
are
Matt.
all
Yeah.
patient.
And we'll
Yes,
just
it
connect
was.
as you, well, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it, and I'll just
He's
connect with John.
He's
as you
Donnie
guys-
Jackson's little boy. That's who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the big one. There's a littler one. He's taller than me, but he's the younger, so. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be careful. Yeah.
Any men around 60 or older.
Take care of her.
Night.
Night. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is facility pricing, which I'm going to suggest, as we did in the past, maybe, I was thinking like maybe Diane and John could meet with John and work on some facility pricing and bring it back to the board.
Sure. Be glad to.
It'd be great.
John?
Yes.
Okay. I know there's too many.
I thought you were talking to him.
Actually, John and John.
We're gonna
John
have
and
to,
John.
John L. and John M.
Maybe for next month's meeting?
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
Yeah, because we're getting close to, like, you know, the baseball diamond and some of the other facilities. So, yeah, that would be fine. Good.
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 Okay, and then director's report.
Okay, several things. I gave you a little brochures from the soccer shots. And what this is a group out of Indianapolis. They do it at Zionsville, Carmel, all these other different locations. They're just going to set up, there's nothing on the parks other than they come in, they'll advertise, and it's for children 2, I think, to 5 years old, but it's not, it's not going to compete with LISA, not compete with Boys and Girls Club. I've spoke to both them. They have the insurance that's necessary. It's like $12. It's a half hour, and then they do playtime or whatever. It's just to get an introduction. Heard a lot of good things, so I thought I'd run that by you. They're going to do that at Abner Longley on the space. They're just going to do it a few times a week. They'll let us know if they get any interest in it. But it's picked up, yeah. As far as the other grades, LISA, I think they started up this week. They're down about 30 kids, I think. I heard Little League's down about 30 kids. It's tough. That's, yeah. I'm afraid.
Travel ball.
Well, I don't know if it's the demographics that we aren't bringing any other young groups in with the kids and they're just outgrown or over, but maybe they are doing some travel.
Do they travel at that age? Oh, yeah.
They travel at all ages, heavens, yes, yeah, they're.
Well, I know, I've got one.
But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that brochure out there so you could all see that. I thought,
Is this somebody local that started this?
no,
or
it
is
was, it's kind of well, as you can see, it's a, not federation, but a group. And I called over to Zionsville does it, Carmel, and they have really good soccer programs. And I thought they were very happy with the turnouts and.
So they're just coming, we don't have to approve
We
anything?
don't have to approve anything, or to my knowledge, yeah, they're just gonna come and use it. They could do it anyway, it's a public park, but they were nice enough to come in, and I don't know if we'll promote for them, we'll see how it goes, and see if there's any interest, but if this gets bigger, I'll let you know how it goes, if that's, see what you think, yes. We had a meeting last night, there was a meeting at the, Herman B. Wells Community Room, a get-together, a little presentation over the dog park. Mayor Gentry had a great PowerPoint presentation. 25 to 30 people showed up, just discussing different criteria for the dog park. They are wanting to use park ground. They looked at different park sites. I think the criteria was showing the Conservation Club. Nothing is in stone yet. Probably a year away before we get there. There will be some fundraising that goes on. He's looking at grants where it has to be community funded. Community raises so much money and then the grant money will take care of that. Anyway, very good presentation, a lot of good input. John was there. Anyway.
Did someone from the Humane Society come in, or?
There was nobody from the Humane Society that I know of. There might have been some there, but didn't see anybody from the Humane Society that I know of. I'm not real familiar. I think that's over in Whitestown, right? That's where the Humane Society is now. But yeah, just there is a discussion, obviously, with the loss that we had with the deputy sheriff. There's that's on a lot of people's minds still, wanting to do something. There are no dog parks in Boone County, public dog parks. We'd probably be the first at that, and to honor the gentleman that lost his life, I think that was brought up. That's obviously why it's on the forefront. But yeah, a lot of good input. It is moving forward. There are a lot of questions, but I don't know if you look at any of the Facebook posts and things like that. A lot of push for it right now. So, and it's something that was discussed in the Parks Master Plan. I did tell them that I wished I'd have had the input, or we wish we'd have had the input when we had all the open public hearings. And we did hear from a few, as it's listed in our 5-year comprehensive plan. But it'd been nice to have the input way back then, because we have done all the footwork. I'm not saying that that's in stone or anything like that, but it is something, or guidelines that we're going by. And so they're very well aware of that. It is something that they're going to try and fund. So just to let you know that on down the line, I do believe a group will be coming in. I said, we're open to discussion. We're here for the community. So everybody on this board is community, involved in wanting what's best for the community. So they will be presenting something, I think, in the future. Don't know how long it'll take to fundraise. I think they have 60.
They only have 60 days.
60
to
days
come
once they start to raise that funds, and then the matching contributions.
And you have to actually tell what you're going after as
Yes.
far as the amount, whether it's 30,000, 40,000, or 50,000, and then if you don't match that, or if you don't get that, then the state does not match the
Yeah.
grant. So if you say you're gonna get 50,000 and you get 45, the state won't match it.
Yeah, and the max on that matching grant is 100,000.
And they looked at several parks that we have, discussions about Abner Longley. The Conservation Club was one of the big ones that met the criteria, a lot of the
That was the
criteria.
most.
Rogers Park was another one. But there again, that's the park board, that's your, you will be presented with a dog park conversation soon if you haven't already. I think quite a few of you have already been discussed about a dog park. So just went to the meeting, it was very informative. The mayor's open if you want to talk to the mayor, about anything. His door's not on his office, so you can walk on in and talk to the mayor.
So with the Conservation Club being a prime spot, how does that impact our plan then for Conservation
Well,
Club?
that was
being
my
at the
concern, and
That's
that's my concern. And there again, that's going to be a decision that you guys will be faced with, I think, in the future. I don't know what to say other than hear the presentation, and I think the communication back and forth. I remember when we went through the war memorial. I think Mike and Karen, you were, I believe, went through. That was interesting conversation, but all got settled down and settled finally on a location. I think location was probably the biggest frustration that we had over all of it, and it finally got ironed out. So it'll be one of those that I think it's a good amenity. Most communities have it. So might start educating yourself on dog parks and things like that. I know I am. I looked into those for the last 8 years. Yeah. And it is in our master plan, not the 5-year plan, but it was in our plan. However, with the recent tragedy, obviously it's the forefront. But
And also think of locations, because, in my discussions with the mayor, I expressed my concerns about the Conservation Club, us having, it's a nature center and maybe a wedding venue. And so, he's open to other locations, because
possibly across
I just
the street
don't
at
think
the
the
Hot Pot.
conservation.
That might be
That's what
something
I was-
else, yeah.
I mentioned that, but I don't think that was.
As long as there's not water. Some of them wanted water, and that obviously isn't going to happen. There's all kinds of different things, but Abner Longley, there's different areas with shade trees, but obviously something connecting with the trails, nice, where there is accessibility. Mentioned the Arboretum, some other city properties that are owned around town. And so it's, just to let you know that that discussion was had, probably 2.5 hour meeting last night at least.
Yeah, it was
No,
2.5.
3 hour, 3 hour, right closer to 3. 6:30.
6:30, yeah,
it was 3.
Yeah, it was almost 9:30.
What,
I could have come after work.
what's said about the Ruth Brookshire property?
Well, it's just not, it's not accessible. I mean, as far as, you know,
By
they
vehicle.
Drive.
they want to be able to walk to it, or they want to be able to
Right,
get to it
yeah.
without actually putting their animal in the car and driving to it.
And ironically, a lot of people from here drive to
Yeah, they
Eagle
do.
Creek and use the dog park
They do.
there currently,
They do.
because it's a popular thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's one up by Kokomo. Wasn't it Kokomo the lady said that she
Yeah,
goes to? She
some of
drives.
them, yeah. She drives there, yeah. And there again, there's a lot in the process. I mean, we have fees, we have to think of our personnel that we have, what kind of software that we'll need to upgrade, because these dogs will need
Vaccination
shots. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
track the shots. You're gonna have to make sure as soon as their shots are done. No, I mean, these are things that I looked into a long time ago, that
There's a lot of
parvo, there's a parvo disease and other diseases that
Yes.
you'll have to get the dogs off there, treat the area, put them in another. And these are just things that we'll have to work through and get educated on. So, but yeah, the software and things like that, possibly more personnel help in the office to do the administrative part, to keep track of all the, there'll be fees, there'll be, you know, the key fob or what have you to get in and out of the gate. So there will be maintenance on that where they get broken and we have to go and repair those.
Might it be a consideration to have someone who has expertise in this to come present to us, so we can get ahead of it a little bit, to be better
That I
informed?
possibly can. I know
Debbie
that.
has some contacts.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. I'm speaking with her Monday, so,
That's a good idea.
I'm not
yeah,
involved
because
with
there
the
is so much
Humane
involved.
Society, but I thought that they already had something in the works for.
they've discussed.
Shelter.
Yeah.
They have a shelter.
They have a shelter, which took quite some time, I think, to get up the funds for that, and this is, it's not cheap to have, you think it's just a fence with, you know, a couple doggy bags out there, but it's a little more intense than that. You have to have electricity to it,
Oh,
you have to have
yeah.
water run to it. I mean, these utility things have to come into place too,
Boy.
plus all the other, you know, like I said, the software, the office personnel to make sure the vaccinations are done, security cameras, lighting. I mean, these are things that we'll have to do, so.
You mean they honestly have a complaint about it? They want it within walking distance? Of whom? I mean,
Like a neighborhood or
They
They
want it
really-
within the city
Accessibility.
limits.
Accessibility, yeah.
Accessibility was,
Yeah,
was
they
the
want it
big
in the
thing.
city.
And, you know, the trail may go through, or not go through, excuse me, but go close to where,
Connecting to it,
yeah,
yes.
where the conservation
little
club is,
side
and,
track.
you know, that's still not in stone, so that's a consideration as well.
And nothing's in stone right now, but those are that's just what's
Things
down
we
the
need
pipe.
to
He had a list of things that he wanted or that he felt was necessary, and that was one of them, is the accessibility to the park.
And almost every community does have a dog park. Greenwood has 3 or 2, and they're getting ready to put up another one. And I know that's a bigger community, but the younger generation, not these old guys that are 30 and 50, oh my gosh. Yeah. No, that's what they
Oh,
look
those
for.
old
They look
guys,
for
yeah.
these, and they have their kids, and their kids are their dogs, and, you know, that's... But there again, there's, about every community has it. They have
Yeah,
splash pads, they have...
one. Yeah,
yeah,
we need
so-
a dog park. It's just
It was
finding the
discussed,
right
and if it'll be,
location.
yeah, and if it doesn't work, you know what, the fence can come up. I just gotta say that too. It's one of those, it's not,
Well, and we also talked about, you know, there was gonna be certain times too that they'd be able to get in. I mean, you know, you got houses around there as well. So, you know, you don't want them going in at 10 o'clock at night or,
but that will be a decision that you all be faced with, of location, something like that.
Is there any room
And
in
it's a year
Southside
off,
Park?
we're a year away from
Oh,
that, but I
easily, yeah,
saw,
it'll be at
I would
least-
say.
I made the
Back to the
comment
back.
on the, let's see, it would be the south side
South.
where,
East side?
yes, the southeast side where there's some trees. That's the
Right,
other thing,
that's what
Mike,
I was
that
wondering.
was on the necessity was trees, you know, for shade. You know, so that, yeah, I had made that little area, but drainage is bad. So, you know, you'd have more expense in doing the drainage and fixing that little area. But I mentioned that area.
Another happening on Monday, went to the council, city council, talked about our projects that we'd like to go, the list that you guys had all gathered together and go down the list, and had a discussion and talked to everyone involved. We do have some monies there. We'll be figuring that out and start knocking off the list from 1 through possibly 1 through 3, 1 through 5. We'll see, going down the list and just knocking off those items. I have to do quite a bit of footwork with the request for proposals, quotes, that type of thing. And you're looking at drainage, you're looking at a new restroom, paving back in the maintenance barn area, lighting possibly, some those paths. I think that was some of the things. We're going to try and get pickleball courts going at Abner Longley. We're going to work on that. There's quite a bit of work to be done. There's cracks that are as wide as my legs. I mean, they're huge, that we got to repair down there, but we're going to try and convert those into pickleball. Even though the master plan has us removing those, I think for the short term, I don't see us having $500,000 to throw down for the softball fields right now, so why not put 20 in and get this activity. It's very popular in a lot of groups, and we've actually had several calls on it already, so we're looking into that. If it's not cost effective, we won't do it, but we are looking at doing some quick fix. We did hire a programs director. Allison Morton came on last week, last Thursday, already making an impact, doing very well. It's nice to have help for Taylor there too. She can do office work, but very qualified, very sharp girl, already looking into volleyball tournaments and things like that, and utilizing what we have. We have our daddy-daughter dance coming up this Saturday. I think we've sold 250 tickets already. We will not turn anybody away, I guess, but we only charge $15 per couple, $5 per extra child. We have an unlimited number. We don't turn anybody away. Brownsburg charges $50. They do it in a gymnasium. They don't have a photo booth. I'm just bragging now. I'm serious. So we have a photo booth. We also have a DJ. They don't have that. So and they charge $50. And they have a limitation. We're starting to get some of that overflow now that they found out that we have it. And I think that's pretty cool too. We have somebody drive from Michigan that comes up for this every year too, and he's already booked his tickets and his room for his child there. I think that's great. Cool. Yeah, they saw it on our website and have been coming. I think this will be their 4th year. Yeah, he said, I'm going to miss this when she gets too old. So.
That's why I hear that complaint so much, that people say, I
don't know how many new guys coming in, and they're saying, well, boy, I've got already booked a dinner for them and whatever, and you see all, it's just great. It's a good time. That's coming up this Saturday. Looking forward to that. Easter egg, we had 10,000 Easter eggs. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable too. It takes 2 hours to put them out. In 20 seconds, you blow that whistle and those kids are gone. Everything, you just stay out of their way. The mayor was there. Debbie Ottinger did the MCing. Taylor and Todd and the Easter Bunny. Anyway, the crew from the park did a great job. I'll just say that. Outstanding. There again, want to thank Purity Wholesale and Jack Carroll. Everybody walked away with candy bars, big candy bars, or several candy bars. So that was nice, let alone all their treats, and then the winners there. We have co-ed softball registration going on right now. Our Mother's Day event, we've already booked quite a few of those. It's cupcakes and canvas where they paint, and obviously cupcakes. I've never been. My family's been. I've never been. But that's Sunday, May 6th at 1. It's only $20. I don't know if you've seen some of that where they paint the canvas. It's really a good time. Also, I believe she's looking into some kind of daddy or a mother-son event. So she's looking into those. Lap swim is still going on from 5:30 to 6:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. with warmer weather, I had 2 calls earlier as I was walking in. We have opened up the restrooms. We're cleaning up 2 more, painting and doing those kind of things now that it's warmer. They will be open very soon this week. However, there is 22 to 23 degrees next week coming, and snow again. That's why I'm just telling you, it's 60, 70 to 80 degrees, and they said Monday and Tuesday. No, Monday, Tuesday. Have you not heard it? Yeah. And it's just real difficult to open these restrooms up and shut them down again, so we won't. We're going to put a bunch of heat on them and pray. But that new restroom, that's something we probably need to decide too at the baseball diamond that we will be renovating or tearing down. Would we like, it's horrible. It's embarrassing, really. I hate to say it. I've been at those games and you hear these people from out of town, well, they got a beautiful ballpark, but have you seen their restroom? That's the worst restroom. I'm serious.
It's terrible.
And the mud washes in there, so we have a lot of work to do when we build a new one. But I think heated restroom, that's been discussed.
Well, and I think
I'm going to get bids on it. Just I think we have walkers. That way we wouldn't have to shut down in the wintertime. I know it'll be a cost. There will be a cost that will come to that, but I don't know how many people come in the wintertime to the office, and it will be an expense, but I think it's another amenity that I think we need to look at. We have so many walkers. When we go out to plow the sidewalks or clean off the sidewalks, at 5 in the morning, you'll see footsteps, and it's like, really? I think John was out there walking earlier, just seeing how much snow there was.
No, he was swimming with me.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I think the restroom is, in my opinion, I think you've been trying to do this for 2 or 3 years.
Several years, yes.
And
yes.
Needs to be done.
in my opinion, that needs to be on top of the list. I mean,
Mine too.
It's number
You,
one.
you've got the HTA, the baseball that we just did, you know, you're gonna be bringing other people from other towns here.
And we do every, we had a game last night, we had a game Monday.
And we got
Another one tomorrow and another one Saturday, and these kids from out of town, but when I'm, walking into the concession stand, I hear, oh, did you see the restroom there? How do they have a beautiful ballpark? And it wasn't 1 or 2 conversations, and I'm sorry, we've done the best. We lipstick on a pig, that's what I can say. We painted it up and cleaned it up. But,
I'll have to remember that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Well, and that's things too, you have to worry about putting the curtains on the bathrooms, but they flush those, they burn them, there's all other. But we're gonna have cameras set up, they're gonna lock like the other ones do, open at 6, lock at 11 o'clock at night, and I think that's fair for everybody
do
too.
Yep,
It's,
gotta do
it
that.
really has lowered our vandalism, so.
So what kind of timeline are you thinking about for the restrooms?
I'm hoping I'll have the RFPs out probably. I talked to Mr. Campbell today, and he's ready to move on them too. He's been pushing this for a while himself. He's very helpful. Probably in the next couple of weeks I'll be working with engineering, and then we'll see what the timeline is from there, see what the price is, and then go forward. The lighting, I'm not sure. We're still working out some financial workings on it. Same with the paths, but the drainage, the restroom, the drainage are the top 2
Those are
for
the
sure
top
that we
two,
will
for
be
sure.
going forward with real quick.
So what would you do if it's being torn down? and-
Portalettes.
You'll have to do
Yeah.
portalettes.
Yeah, we'll do portalettes, and I don't foresee it being done before July 1st, the July 4th, unfortunately, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how hungry contractors are and the pricing and everything and how aggressive. We'll see. Yeah, and that's all I have.
Okay, if everyone's had a chance to look over the claims, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Now I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Let me, because I wanted to an hour ago. So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for joining us this evening.